Hey guys, I'm Renee. I'm a cartoonist. I make comics, I do drawings, and today I'm going to be drawing a baby dragon and a warrior. Let's get into it.
So as you can see, I've already started the drawing, and I've basically roughed in the baby dragon and Felka. Just giving him a nice affectionate cuddle, like he's some kind of puppy. And now I'm just going to put in a little bit more details, just define the drawing a little bit. I think I started this one about a week ago, and now I've just decided to get in and finish it off. So I'm using my Colorase red pencil. You can get those on eBay, and I've got there a pencil extender. So I'm not just clutching this little stub of a pencil right at the end. I can put it in the extender and it's a bit more comfortable to hold. And I'm just building on those really rough marks that I made earlier. So when I started drawing, I really just rough out all of the main parts of the drawing, the direction of the poses, all of the main forms in the body, the cranium, rib cage, pelvis, and what the arms and legs are doing. I really want to lay those down first before I get into any details at all, like clothing or hair or facial features or anything like that. Especially if you've got two characters interacting with each other, such as these two are. That's particularly when you want to pay attention to those that broad information that you want to convey in the drawing. So in this case, I want to make it a convincing, warm embrace. And so I'm got to a point where I'm pretty happy with the level of detail in the pencil drawing. And I just brushed it back very lightly with my kneadable eraser, that Faber-Castell eraser that I got. And now I'm just laying in the inks with my Pentel brush pen. These pens are great because you can just order new cartridges, refills, and you don't have to throw out the whole pen. You can just keep going. If you looked after the brush and it's nice and pointy, you can just keep reusing it. Now, as I go along, I'm really thinking carefully about the form. I've sped this up to about 4 times the speed that of real life. I'm really thinking about the form. So if I draw something that's wrapped around her like a belt, I'm thinking about that thing going all the way around. So I'm not just drawing something flat against the surface of the page. I'm thinking about how that wraps around her form, and same with the way her elbow pads fit against her arm. It's the same with the way the dragon's nostrils sit on his face, or her face, sorry, that's a female dragon. I just remembered. So in the story, that dragon is the one that gets corrupted by the potion that Ulrich feeds it after Kevin craftily got him to take home the potion recipe and make it, and Felka helped to create the potion. So she doesn't find out till much later that that's what happened, and obviously here she is kind of wanting to make up with the dragon now that the dragon's been purified, and at the end of the story in 4 issues time, when it all wraps up, everything's going to be fine, and they're going to reconcile. And I've just slowed it down to normal speed right now. And you can see I'm making all the details, like the thickness of those boot cuffs. Yeah, just adding in a few extra details like that muscle there that turns the forearm. You don't want to put in too many muscles on a cartoony character, especially if it's small on the page. If it's the main thing, then like this one is, if the character is larger on the page, then you might add a muscle definition or two. if it doesn't clutter up the page too much. And I've really tried to make sure I've got little bits of shadow. You can see underneath the dragon's paws and underneath Felka's scale skirt. Okay, now I'm using my Touch New markers. Again, these are very cheap markers that I just bought on eBay, and I think I mentioned in a previous video, half of them just dried out, and which really sucked because there were a lot of great colors. But the ones I've still got about 50 or 60 markers that still work, and that's pretty good. So I think I'm still ahead in terms of what I spent on these. Yeah, if you want to go really professional, you can get Copic markers. I've got a few of those from when I studied graphic design back in the 90s, and they still work. They're incredible. They just keep going. But I don't have all the colors I need, so it's nice to have a few extras. You can always use watercolors, and that's something I want to do in a future video, is just show you how I mix colors in a palette from a limited range. And yeah, just give me a note in the comments if that's something that you would be interested in seeing. So basically, I'm just using all the colors that I used in my last drawing with Felka. Basically, from this point on, it's color by numbers, and so you just want to make sure you stay in the lines. Get some nice flat color. But the nice thing about markers is there is a little bit of interest within those flat colors. So it's not like it's been rendered by a computer and it's been spat out and it's all completely flat. There's just a little bit of texture and a little bit of variety within the colors. I think one artist calls it a kind of alchemy, and that creates enough interest within the picture to keep people looking at the drawing. And which is one of the challenges with digital art, is that you don't have that. So sometimes what people will do is they will bring in just a page of brush strokes into their digital art and just have some kind of overlay effect. And I've dabbled with that with some of my comics. You could see in this issue of Mythic Creature Trainer, I've used a kind of a pencil texture with the mother dragon, and I've had some good feedback on that. People have said they like it. Sometimes I just use a page of brush strokes and put that in so you can see it in the background, and you can see in the clouds here I've done that, and people have said that they think that's a good effect. But I don't really use it consistently or in every case. I don't use it on every page. I think you can probably get a little bit sick of it. There was a World of Warcraft comic by Sean Galloway, and they used some kind of paper texture effect on every single page, and I just got sick of it. I mean, it was a pretty cool texture, but it was just too much. And I think they just could have used a little bit of digital noise, and that would have been fine. Okay, so here I'm getting a little bit of white gouache, Art Spectrum Designers white gouache, and I'm going to go in and just put a few highlights in, and I normally use this to fix up my mistakes. So if I've stuffed up a bit of line work, I go over with a bit of gouache and fix it up. So here I'm just putting in a few highlights, showing a bit of form and a bit of interest. I don't really like what I've done with that dragon's nose. I think I go back and in the end and draw over it. Yeah, I tried to smudge it, but it didn't work. And this just adds a bit of form to the drawing. It's quite stylized, so I don't use it every time, but it can be a nice effect, just putting it on some of the edges of surfaces to make it look like they're catching the light.
Well, I hope you got something out of that. Let me just run through a couple of the materials that I used. I used a Pentel brush pen, For the black line work, I used a purple Derwent's artist pen for some of the shadows, and I used a white gouache paint for just some of the highlights, and to apply those I just use this cheap number 2 brush, and that's about it. Oh yeah, and the Colorase red pencil for the just roughing in the rough lines. Alright, thanks guys. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and leave a comment if you've got any questions about these videos. If you've got any suggestions, that'd be fantastic. Oh, and check out my Kickstarter. There's a link below in the description. Alright, see you later guys.